It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so.
And so, goodbye. Mwah. And good night. Bang! Settle!
Because I'm better than you, and you know it. Yes, sir.
Welcome to Off the Mats with Alex Lowe's and Josh Silverberg.
All right, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network and another episode of the only wrestling talk show here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome to Off the Mat. I'm your host, as always, Josh Silverberg. With me at this time, my co-host, my tag team partner down south in sunny Florida. Now getting close to the new title town, I guess.
Yeah.
Mr. Alex, what's happening, man?
Nothing much. It's been a great week for wrestling again. We saw NXT TakeOver. We have a lot of stuff to get into with so little time, and we got the updated G1 Climax 30 standings later on in the show. So stick around with us. It's going to be great, and I cannot wait. It's going to be great. It'll be an interesting show.
Absolutely. It's going to be fantastic. We have so much to get to. We have brought back This Week in Wrestling History. Alex is so ecstatic about that. And, of course, like you said, our finishing move. So before we do that, Alex, of course, we gotta get all of our ducks in a row, as they say. So let's get to it. If you don't have our app at this point, I don't know what to tell you. You're missing out on so much content. It's crazy, and it's all free content. It doesn't make any sense as to why you wouldn't have the app at this point. Please, if you have an iPhone, go to the Apple Store. If you have an Android, go to the Google Play Store. All you have to do is type in WWSRN. That's WWSRN. You download our app. It is free. It's got our show schedule. It's got content of articles that we not just on here on our shows, but we write as well. It tells you about every show. So if you're not just a wrestling fan, okay, different shows. You got Below the Mic, Down to the Wire, The Wise Guys, the BS Sports Show, the Ryan Hickey Show, Weapon Todd, a show about the New York Jets. You got our new fantasy football show that we're doing, of course, the Sports Hit List. So we have so much content out there for not just wrestling fans, but for sports fans in general that want to be able to, explore everything. If it's something that you don't, it's something that you love. If you love hockey, you can check out the BS Sports Show. If you love baseball, check out Below the Mic. If you love basketball, The Wise Guys. If you love football, Ryan Hickey Show. It's just so many different shows that are out there. Also, worldwidesports.com. Check us out there, worldwidesports.com. You can check us out too. If you miss our show, you can also rewatch it on the app. Watch clips from our shows as well. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope. We're on every social media platform. You name it, we have it. So if you somebody's playing with a motorcycle out there. So if you, again, need, like I said, if you missed our show, have no fear. You could just download the app, rewatch it again. Alex, tell the fans how they can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the phone number they can reach us at.
You can find us on Facebook at Off the Mat WWSRN. Same for Twitter. And our phone lines are open. Feel free to give your thoughts, comments, leave anything on the topics and discussions for the show at 727-888-4295. Again, that's 727-888-4295.
Absolutely. We want to hear from you. If you're too scared to call in, that's okay. You can write comments down below. I have the Facebook page open on my phone, so if you want to chime in on there as well. Alex going with his Hogan Beach Shop shirt today, correct, my friend?
Yeah, I'm wearing one of the Hogan's Beach shirts that I got from there.
So I went with the Ring of Honor theory, but I went with the Matt Taven thing today. The how do you say the theme today? These are two shirts that I got at the G1 Supercard show last year. I know a lot of people are not Matt Taven fans. I am one of those that am, but I decided to also get this. Is now everybody says, "Oh my goodness, best friends, that's a crazy shirt. Where'd you get that from?" This is their shirt from when they were in Ring of Honor. This is not their AEW shirt. So this is a shirt that goes back before people really knew who they were with Trent Beretta and Chucky T. So, Ring of Honor usually has very good sales as well going on. I actually got this. It was like a buy one, get two free in the clearance. So I bought one shirt and I got two free shirts, which is an insane deal. So always check them out for sure. All right, Alex, let's get right into it, my friend. And before we get to our AEW NXT stuff, before we recap, before we recap TakeOver, before we recap AEW this week and everything, we have to do some, like I said, we do all that house cleaning stuff, as they say. I want to get your thoughts on I almost said MLB draft. I don't know why I almost said MLB draft. On the draft last night on SmackDown, it was last night. It went into today on Talking Smack. It's going to continue Monday. We saw some draft picks that were done yesterday, and we saw some interesting.
Yeah, we definitely did. We saw Seth Rollins go over to SmackDown, and I don't know why they keep going with the Mysterio story. Like, I just think that it's time to move on to something new, come up with some new material. And I also don't like the fact how they split up the New Day.
Horrible.
The way they did it was just like how they just instantly split them up without doing anything. I feel like they should have done something where Big E turns on the New Day, attacks them, becomes a heel, all that whole 9-yard, that whole shtick. But I just really thought that would have been the better way to go with them.
100%. I think that's the way it should have went. I've been thinking that for months. I didn't understand it, why that's the case. But, I mean, look, it is. They also broke up Heavy Machinery this morning, which I guess was expected because Otis has the Money in the Bank contract, which I still think to this day is so. It was such a stupid decision to give that to him, but it is what it is. The draft. I mean, look, some are expected. I like Seth going to SmackDown. I like AJ Styles going back to Raw. Give them fresh new kind of, well, I would say give Seth fresh new feuds, but the problem is they brought over the Mysterio family and Buddy Murphy over to SmackDown, so that's going to last another 6 months. But I didn't mind some of the draft, like Roman staying on SmackDown, Drew McIntyre staying on Raw. That was totally fine. No problem to Asuka staying on Raw. They had some women, Bianca Belair, I believe, going to SmackDown. So you're going to have some fresh new faces on certain shows. But I agree with you 100%, Alex. I didn't understand the whole theory as to why does this feud have to keep continuing. I really don't get it. I think ever since June, I think this feud.
Yeah, it goes that far back, and I feel like with moving Seth over to SmackDown, there's been a possibility. A lot of people have been talking about this. It's just a rumor. People are speculating it might happen, but they think Seth Rollins might join forces with Roman Reigns in a faction.
I mean, look, we'll see. Curious with that. I mean, before we move on to our AEW NXT stuff, I wanted to get your last thoughts too on what were your thoughts on Ali turning out to be the leader of Retribution, which a lot of people anticipated. It keeps me interested in the story.
I like the idea. I saw it coming for a while. How they were doing the whole hacker thing, yeah. How they were saying there's a hacker taking over the Monday Night Raw shows. So it all makes sense now how all this is playing forward and how this is all unfolding.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for sure. I mean, like I said, when I saw that happen, I knew instantly he was the hacker. That was a rumor going around for the last few months, and it turned out to be true. So we'll see where they go with that storyline for sure. I'm curious. I'm interested, and look, who knows? But then again, I guess sometimes we expect too much from WWE and we get let down. So we'll see where this goes. I don't know. Like I said, I was watching the Rays Yankees last night, and I was in the NBA Finals last night. But I was checking up every now and then on the WWE draft, and I was just like, oh, okay. Like I thought some of it was good, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, no, great. I don't mind Seth going to SmackDown though, and I don't mind AJ going to Raw. So we'll see how they unfold that. All right, Alex, let's get right into it, man. Our AEW recap. What were your thoughts on it? What'd you like? What didn't you like?
So I liked the opening match with Brian Cage facing Will Hobbs, defending his FTW championship. And I loved Will Hobbs' performance. He showed a lot of heart and determination in that match, a lot of grit, and his performance was up another level from last week and a couple weeks ago. And he's improving every other show, and I love how Will Hobbs is continuing to grow in AEW.
I'm with you 100%. I said when I first saw Will Hobbs in the Casino Battle Royal, I said, this guy's going to be something. You could see it with his size, his strength, and everything like that. I don't know how he is on the mic because he hasn't talked yet on the mic. I'm curious what the storyline with Team Taz and him. He didn't say anything, and then Darby Allin came out, but nobody attacked Darby, so it was kind of
odd.
But I agree with you. I thought the match was really good between Hobbs and Brian Cage. Look, I mean the match of the night, of course, was the dog collar match between Cody.
Yeah, that was definitely the highlight of the whole event. And Cody's match against Brody Lee was it definitely was the highlight of the whole show, because these two men, they literally tore each other apart in that match, and both of them, they may never feel the same again after a match like that.
I wanted to ask this question, Alex. Did you like the result of Lee losing? Because a lot of people on Twitter were actually, they loved the match, but they were not happy that Brody lost the belt only after a month of gaining it. People were not happy. What were your thoughts? Did you mind the result? Did you hate the result? What were your thoughts?
I didn't like the result. I feel like they should have allowed Brody Lee to carry the TNT Championship a little bit longer before dropping it. And I thought it was too quick to give Cody back the TNT Championship. I feel like they could have gone a little bit longer with that, and gave us a little proper build up towards it. And but yeah, I feel like those two men will never feel the same after a match like that. It really tears on the body, and it really nobody feel like it causes a lot of damage to the body too. You could see how it was taking an effect on Cody throughout that whole match.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I loved the match. I thought it was awesome. I think it added all the elements. You saw Greg Valentine outside as well. He was a guy that wrestled in that kind of match. I don't know. I'm so very hit and miss on the result, only because, I mean, yeah, Cody just come back. What were you going to do? You were going to have him lose his first match? I mean, that would have been kind of silly, but at the same time,
it would have made complete sense if he lost the match to Brody Lee.
And I understand why people got upset, because they think, oh, Brody needed more time. I think you could take both sides of the argument. You could take the side of Brody lost the belt too quickly. It just didn't unfold the way that it should have been, because he should have had the belt longer. At the same time, Cody had just come back. You're not going to have him lose when he just comes back, when he just came back from anything like that. I mean, I don't know. And I keep wanting to think there's a heel turn. And I think there is going to be a heel turn with this, and I think it's going to be unbelievable how they do this heel turn. I think it's going to just get people to be like, oh, didn't see it coming, no way, didn't expect it. That's how I think it's going to go. But, I mean, look, we'll see. So, last thing before we get to our NXT TakeOver recap and NXT, What were your thoughts on the Jericho 30 celebration? Did you like it? And then the MJF announcement saying he's going to decide next week. What do you think is? Did you like the main event 1 and 2? What are your thoughts on the MJF stuff?
I love the MJF stuff. I like how MJF is slowly building towards possibly joining the Inner Circle. Congratulations to Chris Jericho on 30 years in the wrestling business. That's big. That's a huge achievement. And it's amazing to see how far along Chris Jericho has come from when he first debuted on Monday Night Raw in 1998 or 99, I think it was. Under he was the Millennium. He was
ECW in night with you know what I mean. Lionheart, Chris Jericho in ECW. It goes way back.
Yeah, it goes way back, and he's had a lot of amazing moments in his career. And one of my favorite moments with Chris Jericho has to be the CM Punk Chris Jericho feud. Who they were both going back and forth on who's the best in the world, and that was one of my favorite feuds with Jericho. And then there was the feud with Cody when he was in WWE, so that was a good one too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, look, I've watched Chris Jericho forever, going back to WCW. I remember his feud with Goldberg, going back there. But when he beat Austin and The Rock on the same night and became the undisputed heavyweight champion, I mean, that was the defining moment for Chris. And, you know, when you look at that, I mean, Chris Jericho to me has had so many top-notch moments in just watching him. I mean, ever since I became a wrestling fan, he's been a guy that I've really looked at all my life. And, you know, when I saw how they underutilized him in WCW, they really dropped the ball there. Eric Bischoff really didn't see, I guess, as much as he should have. And he wound up going to WWE. And he had so many big feuds against Kurt Angle, against China, you know, against Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold, The Undertaker, you know what I mean? He had all these rivalries. So, look, more power to him. He made the right call, and now he's in AEW as one of the faces of the brand, the first ever AEW heavyweight champion, which I thought was the right call when he beat Hangman Adam Page. And he's done New Japan stuff as well, wrestling Kenny Omega, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kazuchika Okada, Tetsuya Naito. So, you know what I mean? He has fought some, you know, Evil as well. He's fought some wrestlers.
Yeah, he's fought some of the biggest names in sports entertainment. A lot of big names in the wrestling business.
Yeah. As far as the main event goes, I thought it was not great.
I didn't like the main event. I feel like Chris Jericho and Hager, I feel like they could have fought somebody. They could have went up against a bigger tag team like Jurassic Express or the Young Bucks. But I didn't feel as much anticipation for this matchup at all.
Well, Alex, the reason why they did that is because he and Luther had a rivalry way, way back in like the 90s. So that was the reason they did it this way with this match. I believe Chris Jericho asked for this because he wanted to face Luther again because he and Luther had a rivalry many, many, many years ago. And that's why they did it this way. And look, Chris Jericho has the right to choose who he wants to choose.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
He definitely does.
So, look, the match was not great, but it is what it is, and it was a nice celebration. I don't think MJF is joining the Inner Circle, actually. I think this is going to be a twist. I think he's going to form his own group, but I think he's actually going to attack Chris Jericho next week on AEW. That's my theory on this whole thing. I really do. I think because it would be too obvious, and AEW goes the New Japan route where it's just too obvious. They don't want to do it that way. So we'll see. But I think MJF is not going to be joining the Inner Circle. All right, Alex, let's get into it. NXT TakeOver recap and our NXT recap. First off, big thoughts go out to Rich Holland. I am so upset. You saw what I wrote on Twitter, Alex. I am so upset that this happened to him.
Yeah, it was bad.
You couldn't have picked a worse time for him to have an injury like this. But, of course, it was something that accidents happened. It was nobody's fault.
No.
His ankle buckled underneath him against Oney Larkin when he tried to catch him. He was set to have a huge feud with Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era. And, unfortunately, he's going to be out till 2021. So our thoughts here at Off the Mat go to Rich Holland. I'm a huge fan of his. I can't wait for him to come back better than ever. But this stops momentum so much. What did you think of TakeOver? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What were your thoughts?
So NXT TakeOver to me was an awesome, awesome show. We had Ember Moon return, which is huge. She came back to NXT, and
And Tony Storm as well.
Yeah, Tony Storm came back as well.
For the women's division, 2 huge gets for the women's
division. This will definitely help the women's division in NXT, bringing back these 2 big names to their roster. And my thought on the main event between Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor for the NXT Championship, it may have been one of the best match performances of Kyle O'Reilly's career. Because Balor was reeled throughout that whole match because he suffered a fractured jaw twice, and I was surprised how he was able to get through the match and still win. And this had to be one of my favorite TakeOver matches in a long time, for sure.
If you haven't checked out Kyle O'Reilly as a singles competitor in Ring of Honor, you're missing out. Go back and look at his rivalry on YouTube against Adam Cole, against other guys that he has fought. And he is unbelievable in the ring. He could go 45, 50 minutes. He can. I thought that match was phenomenal. I thought their styles are similar. That's why I thought it was perfect. I enjoyed that match very much. So the opening match to me, I thought that was Damian Priest's best match so far in NXT. I thought it was a match that really set the tone for the show. I enjoyed it a lot. Kushida Dream was very good too.
Oh yeah, Kushida versus Velveteen Dream. That was an amazing match. I enjoyed seeing Kushida add new things into his arsenal, into his moveset, and I can't wait to see what else NXT does with him going forward from here, because that performance was amazing. And then we saw him the following Wednesday, this Wednesday, he went up against Tommaso Ciampa in a match, and he had Tommaso Ciampa grounded for a while, and that's something that surprised me because you don't see that too often. You don't see Tommaso Ciampa get grounded often in matches. He's mostly on his feet. He's mostly tearing it up in that ring and fighting back, doing whatever's necessary to win.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I think they're finally, Alex, giving Kushida the run that he deserves in this company, that it's been long overdue. He's been with here for about a year and a half, and this was his first TakeOver match. I think it's ridiculous that it took that long. Him and Dream, the rivalry isn't over yet, so we'll see. I enjoyed the women's match, LeRae and Io Shirai, but I was because remember I brought it up to you on the show last week, I believe, Alex. I said, okay, if Io wins, who's next in line? Getting Ember Moon and getting Tony Storm here, I think, is just a huge, huge addition for the women's division that needs this so badly. And I like what NXT is doing. So they're taking people from the main roster like Finn Balor and Ember Moon, wrestlers that aren't utilized the proper way on the main roster, and bringing them back to NXT and letting them, letting them be who they are and what got them to where they needed to be on the main roster, letting them come back, I think is a great thing for them. Like I said, I think getting Ember Moon back like the way that they did was really good. I like the new attitude. I like the way she looks now. The music to me is different. It's all different. It's not what she was when she first got here.
No.
It's very, very different. So I like that. And I like that Io Shirai now has opponents for the future, because I was very concerned about that. I said, okay, well, who's left? She beat Tegan Nox. She beat Dakota Kai. She's beating Candice LeRae. She's beating Rhea Ripley. She beat Charlotte Flair. All right, I'm concerned. Who does she have? Well, now she has 2 more competitors. Now, I'm not saying those competitors are going to win, but at least now, Alex, you have options for a TakeOver match to build up a feud with Io Shirai. So I like that very much. I like the main event idea. I was curious with the Rich Holland stuff. I had a feeling Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish were behind the Adam Cole attack, and they were going to frame Rich Holland, like Rich Holland had a deal with them. That's what I think this whole thing was going to be. You were going to kind of see a separation of the Undisputed Era. But now that Rich Holland is out, I don't know where they're going to go. I feel so bad for Rich. You know, I'm curious where they go now with Adam Cole and all that. So we'll see. But I really like TakeOver. It was in my opinion, it was the best TakeOver they've had since the quarantine. Way better than In Your House. Way better than Third. You know,
I agree. It was very well done. And out of all the matches, my favorite one was the main event by far. The main event definitely topped it off.
Do you like the arena? Did you like how they did it with the fencing instead of the plexiglass? Now they have the fencing.
Yeah, I liked that idea, and I like how they did like a Thunderdome idea. They added some screens, like people on the Zoom watching the event. That was cool to see too.
Yeah, it was cool. What they did because Alex said it perfectly. They added the Zoom skits that they do on Raw and SmackDown and the pay-per-views for WWE, but they also had some wrestlers in the crowd as well, which is nice. But I like the fencing idea. I really do, because what it does is it adds like a street element to NXT. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing that they did instead of having the plexiglass. You know, I mean, look, like I said, we'll see where we go from here. We'll see where it all this lands.
And then also during Wednesday's show, we saw the return of Dexter Lumis, who came back from the ankle injury he suffered a month back or so, and we saw him go up against Austin Theory. Austin Theory had a squash match with somebody, I forget, Leo something. I forget what the last name is, but he had a squash match with him, and then Dexter Lumis came out, and we got to see a new storyline connect. So I'm very interested to see how this goes between him and Austin Theory.
Oh, Alex, we didn't even mention one of the better matches at TakeOver. You know what I mean? We didn't even check the
cruiserweight match.
We even talk about the cruiserweight match between Isaiah Swerve and
Santos Escobar.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
really
it was. Good. It was very well done. My favorite part of that matchup had to be how Isaiah Swerve Scott, like he was kicking out of everything that Santos Escobar threw at him. He was able to follow up and come back in the matchup, and that took a lot of effort and like determination and really trying to pick off a win off Santos Escobar. But then we saw Legado del Fantasma get involved, and that ended up giving Santos Escobar an advantage, and then he won the match from there.
I love how they're building up the cruiserweight division in NXT. I think it's great. I think what they've done, is something that I think many people expected when 205 Live came out. But the thing is, NXT has built it up way better. They're not just shoving the cruiserweights in your face every week. They do it every now and then. They have a very deep roster of cruiserweights that people don't know about, that I think you're going to start to see over the next few weeks. So I love the idea. And again, I keep saying it though, Alex, we got to see these tag team belts defended on a TakeOver. They haven't been defended since TakeOver.
No, they haven't.
They have not had one since this quarantine. The tag team championships have not been defended one time on a TakeOver. And I think that's so ridiculous. That should not be happening.
No, it shouldn't be.
But again, at the same time, Alex, we have said it over and over again. The tag team division in NXT right now is so weak, because all their great tag teams are up on the main roster or are out of the company now. And they've replaced the women's division, but it's tougher to replace the tag team division, I believe, in my eyes.
Yeah, I feel like they need to give some tag teams in NXT a better push, push some NXT tag teams like Everrise. Have Everrise challenge Breezango for their tag team titles. That would be a good way to go. That would be a smart idea for NXT to have a title match and like build up a story week by week, and then towards another TakeOver have that match.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. All right, Alex, let's get to a break. When we come back, we have This Week in Wrestling History. We are also going to recap the G1 Climax. So much to get to. We have the exact up-to-date standings as of this morning. There was matches this morning, so the standings are completely updated. And also our finishing moves. So we still have so much to get to. This is Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We'll be right back.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Everybody's got a price. Rest in peace.
Welcome back to Off the Mat with Alex Lowe's and Josh Silverberg.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Off the Mat. I'm Alex Slows here with Josh Silverberg, and now we are getting into this week in wrestling history. This one is New Japan Pro Wrestling's King of Pro Wrestling 2016. It was in Rise Tokyo, and the attendance was 9,671. So the first match was Tiger Mask W, which was Kota Ibushi dressed up as one of the characters from an anime show against Red Death Mask, which was in a dark match. And the second match was who won that? It doesn't say who won the match, but it was a dark match. But we did have after that Tomohiro Ishii and Will Ospreay and Yoshihashi defeat Adam Cole, Bad Luck Fale, and Yujiro Takahashi in a 6-person tag. Number 3 was Bobby Fish, Raizuki Taguchi, Togi Makabe, and Hanma against Beretta, Jado, Rocky Romero, and Toru Yano, and they defeated them in under 8 minutes and 10 seconds in an 8-person tag. Number 4 was Go Shiozaki, Nakajima, Kitamaya, and Maibach Taniguchi against Tenzan, Nakanishi, Kojima, and Yuji Nagata in an 8-person tag. And the team of Shiozaki won that match. So that was it was a what was that 6-person tag? No, it was a 8-person tag. Another 8-person.
You meant Tenzai. I think that was Albert, who was Bloom in NXT.
Yeah. And number 5 was Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson. The Young Bucks defeated David Finlay and Ricochet. Number 6 was Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, defeated Jay Briscoe and Mark Briscoe. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Jay Lethal, Kushida, and Michael Elgin defeated Bushi, Evil, Sonata, and Naito. And number 8 was Shibata, who defeated Kyle O'Reilly. Kenny Omega defeated Hiroki Goto, and Okada defeated Naomichi. So those.
I love when you pronounce Japanese names, Alex. It's a wonderful blessing when you do it every week. It's awesome.
So there's a lot of big names in here. We have the Young Bucks. We have the Guerrillas of Destiny, Kenny Omega, who's now going back into a singles run. So I'm interested to see how that happens in AEW. But at the time, he had a singles run in New Japan. So it's kind of ironic to see how that's unfolding for him, how he's going back to that.
The card sounds stacked. I don't know if it's something I would really, really tune into, but it sounds stacked. It's a lot of big names, like you said, and you're seeing some names in WWE, some names in NXT, some names in AEW, and some names that are still in New Japan that are still there. So I think it's interesting when you look at you look back at that card and you say, would I run to the TV at 3:00 in the morning to watch that? Probably not.
No.
I mean, it's still something I would check out later on.
Yeah, it's definitely a match you could check out later on and really look back at to see how all these big names came together. Like these people, like as you mentioned, people from NXT, people from AEW, people that are still in New Japan. So it's really cool to see how all these names came together in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Absolutely. All right, Alex, thank you for that. Appreciate it as always. This Week in Wrestling History, back after a couple weeks of hiatus. But before we get to our next topic, again, please, we just want to inform all the listeners, download our app. The app is free. Okay, Apple Store or Google Play Store if you have an iPhone or an Android. Well, either. I mean, those are the only two options you can have. Not either.
And then you can tell your
right.
you can tell your smart speaker to play the Off the Mat.
Yeah, I don't want to say. Yeah, I forgot about that. I don't want to say that because then she's gonna start talking to me, and then I don't want to talk to her, and I'm gonna tell her to shut up. Get away. You. Nah, I won't say it. But download it. Tell your smart speaker to say it. WorldwideSports.com. Again, download that app. It is a free app. Okay, you can check out all of our shows, our schedules. If you missed our show, you don't fear. Okay, don't be nervous. You could just rewatch the show. It's that simple. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube. We're on every social media platform. The phone number is underneath on our screen. It tells you right there. You know what, Alex? I'm going to try to read the phone number today. Okay, it's 727-888-4295. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
All right, 727-888-4295. That's the first time I've ever read the number on here. Check, don't be scared to call in. We want to hear from you, the fans. We really do. Also, if you're a little nervous to call in, you could always just message us on Facebook Messenger or read your comments and your questions on the air. So, don't worry about it. All right, so I jumped the gun a little bit last segment. I did a takeover recap. Okay, so this is how it goes. Usually Alex and I work on the show together.
Yeah, we usually plan everything in advance.
Rundown, we write it down. Clearly, I saw NXT recap, and then after this week of NXT Takeover recap, and I don't know, I completely missed it. So instead of doing an NXT recap, stupid me, I did an NXT Takeover recap with Alex. So we're gonna do an NXT recap this week. Right now, and then we're going to get to our G1 information, our G1 standings and up-to-date stuff, and then we're going to get to our finishing move because the show's already almost over. So, Alex, what did you like about NXT this week? And we mentioned the Ridge Holland injury and everything like that, but what else did you like about the show this week? You mentioned a little bit of it with Kushida and Ciampa.
Yeah, I like how NXT is slowly working towards making Killian Dane and Drake Maverick a tag team. Because we, like you said earlier in the show, we need more tag teams in NXT. So they're working on a story between Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. And as we saw on Wednesday, Killian Dane wants nothing to do with Drake Maverick. He says, we're not a team. Like, I want nothing to do with you. I'm just trying to work on my own here. And I guess Drake Maverick doesn't really get it yet. Drake Maverick still thinks that Killian Dane is in a tag team with him. So it's going to be interesting to see how if Killian Dane will finally accept that, or if he's going to keep denying Drake Maverick. But we really do need more tag teams, so this is a great way to build up a story.
Yeah, I think so. I think I completely agree with you, Alex, in the sense that this is where they need to build tag teams. Now, look, I think people hate the ideas when random tag teams get put together. It's kind of like stupid, but at the same time, look, NXT did it with Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle. AEW did it with Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. I think if you do it properly and you do it the correct way, and it has there's sort of a backstory to it, then I think it could be done. And look, it's unfortunate that COVID happened because what it did was it stopped the momentum of Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne defending the championships. Granted, it brought a rivalry to Timothy Thatcher and Matt Riddle, but what it did was, I was a huge fan of the Matt Riddle Pete Dunne tag team, and even Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, who I hate the notion that people say Kenny Omega is not a tag team wrestler. No, he's any wrestler because he was with the Golden Lovers with Kota Ibushi. So that's completely false. He's a tag team wrestler and a singles wrestler. I don't care. So it's about putting tag teams together the proper way. I love what you said, Alex. I think when you put Killian Dane and Drake Maverick together, I think it adds an interesting dynamic where there's a backstory because Killian Dane doesn't want to be his tag team partner. No. Drake Maverick wants to, and they keep winning matches anyway. So it really doesn't matter. I think the more you see win, the more wins you see, the interesting the storyline gets. So we'll see if there's a tag team match in the future.
And then I mentioned a little bit earlier Dexter Lumis returning and facing Austin Theory. That match was really good. I enjoyed seeing Austin Theory perform against Dexter Lumis because we never seen him go up against this kind of person before. And you could see that Austin Theory was kind of a little perplexed. He was kind of a bit drawn back by Dexter Lumis because Dexter Lumis is one of those guys in the NXT locker room who is very dangerous, very frightening. We've seen what he's done to the Undisputed Era. He could probably do the same to Austin Theory.
It's true. Yeah. Well, first off, Austin Theory has a very bright future. I love somebody calls me on a landline still. It's the funniest thing. Like there's landline still. Like you ask kids today, they don't even know what that is. But I think Austin Theory has such a bright future in NXT. You know, coming from Evolve, he was one of the bigger Evolve names.
Yeah, he was. He was the Evolve champion at one point.
Yeah, and then of course NXT bought out Evolve, and Evolve was kind of their, kind of one of their searches for when they had scouts go. They would take a lot of Evolve talent to NXT. So you look at that. Yeah, I love the match. I think Dexter Lumis is a phenomenal character from when he was back in Impact. I think to see him back in action is great because it's unfortunate what happened. He
suffered an ankle injury and then couldn't compete in the ladder match. Yeah.
At NXT TakeOver 30, he was supposed to be in that ladder match, and unfortunately, he had to bow out because of the injury. But I thought it was an excellent match. We'll see going forward what those two have in store. I do want to see Austin Theory get more big-time wins. I feel like he's constantly losing to bigger names like Adam Cole and Dexter Lumis. I want to see him win a little bit more and lose a little bit less. That would be a more ideal situation for me to watch.
And then we had Shotzi Blackheart against Xia Li. That was a good match. Very interesting to see how they continue to build up Shotzi every week. And speaking of Shotzi Blackheart, she is going to be hosting Halloween Havoc, which is coming up on October 28th. So that
was cool to see. I'm excited for that. I like that NXT, Alex. I know we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but I like that the NXT is bringing back some of the old. I mean, look, when they filed those trademarks months and months ago, they had all the WCW names. So I think it's awesome. You're seeing Great American Bash. You're seeing Halloween Havoc. I saw your Instagram post on the story where you want to see the old Halloween Havoc set. I'm with the gargoyle holding the pumpkin.
Yeah, I want to see all that.
I'm with you 100% on that. I think it needs to be done. I thought they did a great job of doing the In Your House set. That was phenomenal because I grew up with In Your House. So if I could see a Halloween Havoc set, that would make my day even more. So we'll see. And then last match before we move on to the G1 Climax update, we had the main event. It was Rhea Ripley and
Ember Moon, Dakota Kai, and Marina Gonzalez.
What were your thoughts on that one and going forward with the women's division?
I like how it played out perfectly. I love how they had Ember Moon and Rhea Ripley as a tag team. This was a great main event match. It was interesting to see how Dakota Kai and Marina Gonzalez work as a team because we don't see Dakota Kai and Gonzalez together in a match often. Usually, Marina Gonzalez is on the outside watching Dakota Kai go to work in a singles match. So it was really cool to see that. And then it was cool to see Ember Moon back in action because she's been out of NXT for so long, and it's great to see her finally back in the squared circle.
Sure. So that's our NXT recap. I won't screw that up next week, Alex. I promise. I'll actually do it at the right time for sure. But listen, we got it in. So let's get Let's get a quick update on the G1. So we had matches this morning. Alex, I have the exact standings after they updated everything this morning. So let me go through it. It's jumbled right now, as you say. There is a jumbled. Let me just move this out of the way. I got to do some housekeeping here. I'm actually going to minimize you so I can see you on my screen still. At the same time, do this. All right. So for the A block, there is a 4-way tie, Alex.
Yep, Kota Ibushi 10 points, Jay White 10, Okada 10, and Ospreay 10.
Yeah, so it's right now it's Kazuchika Okada, Kota Ibushi, Jay White, Will Ospreay tied with 10 points. Tied for second. You got everybody's pretty much tied. Tomohiro Ishii, Shingo Takagi, Minoru Suzuki, Taichi, and Jeff Cobb all have 6 points. And Yujihiro Takahashi was officially eliminated this morning. 0-7, 0 points. As I said, it was completely expected. He was not going to get a win. He was basically there as a filler and as kind of a jobber in this group. So that was expected. In the B block, which they're going to be wrestling, you'll get that tomorrow. Tetsuya Naito in first with 10 points. Evo in second with 8. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Juice Robinson, Zack Sabre Jr., Toru Yano, Hiroki Goto, and Sonata each with 6 points. My pick freaking sucks. And Kenta, he's got 4 points. What the heck is going on there? And Yoshihashi, 1-5. He's eliminated. He has 2 points as well. So you're getting to some eliminations. Alex, what have you seen so far? I know you and I got to see. I watched the matches this morning. I don't know if you did. What are your thoughts on this whole mumble jumble of all these tight together standings? But also, the champion is in first place in the B block, which we usually don't see.
No, we usually do not see that, and that's amazing to see Naito leading with the most points, and it's in all the blocks. So that's a huge achievement, and I like the best thing I've seen so far is from Will Ospreay. Earlier on in the G1 Climax, I did not think that Ospreay was going to score enough points to get to this point. But now, after all the matches he's gone through and how he's competed, it's really starting to pick up, and his momentum is paying off. And same for Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson has been on fire. He's been on a roll lately, and I can't wait to see how he does in the next couple events.
Well, I'm just curious. I believe if the champion wins the G1, I believe he gets to pick who he fights. I think that's how it works. I think he gets to pick who he fights at Wrestle Kingdom.
I think that's it. Yeah, that might be.
So if he wins, I'm curious who he fights. We'll see. Look, I had Kenta winning it. My God, he never wins. It's horrible. But the A block is quite interesting. You got 4 or 5 wrestlers in that block that are so between Jay White, Will Ospreay, Okada, and I believe who else was it? I exited out of my screen. There are others that were in the standings that are it's so tight, and even in the B block too, that things can change dramatically.
Yeah, things can change at any moment, and I really want to see Juice Robinson pick up some more points because right now he's tied with Tanahashi, Zack Sabre Jr., Yano, Goto, Sonata, and I really want to see how things go for him throughout this tournament because he's done an amazing job. We saw him in the match against Evil. We saw him in a match before against, I forget who it was before. I'm trying to remember who it was before that.
Discussing.
Juice Robinson.
He fought, who did he beat recently? Yano? He beat Yano.
Yeah, he beat Yano. He beat Evil.
I'm trying to think who else. I think he might have beaten Zack Sabre. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, he did beat Zack.
So, I mean, look, we'll see. I think the whole thing has been phenomenal. I am very curious if Naito wins it, who he gives the challenge to. We'll see. Excuse me. I think
it'll be down between 3 people. I'm gonna say Ospreay, Robinson, or Hiroshi Tanahashi. So I say those 3.
Oh, so who he would pick to defend the belt against?
Yeah.
See, I'm gonna say I agree with you on Ospreay. I think Okada's gonna be one. He'll look at I mean, look, if you get a main event of Naito versus Okada, I mean, that's just money right there. I think another one he's going to look at to possibly defend the belt against. I'm trying to think. Maybe Ibushi. But I actually think it's going to be Ospreay or Okada he goes against. If he wins it. I'm curious, you know. But look, Jay White is another underrated one that's doing really well. So, you know, we're seeing, you know, we'll see how this plays out. But only a few more weeks left, Alex, and then we'd finally decided. And by the time you know it, it's going to be Wrestle Kingdom preview time for us.
Oh yeah, it definitely will be.
It's going to fly by.
Getting close to that time. It's going to fly.
It's halfway over.
Yeah.
Just crazy. And then after the G1 is done, you start to do the road to Wrestle Kingdom. It's the road to there. So we'll see. All right, Alex, let's get to our finishing move, man. What do you got for us?
So my finishing move is, earlier I mentioned Halloween Havoc. It's going to be on NXT on October 28th, and I'm really looking forward to that, because it's the first time ever in 20 years, I think, that they're bringing back Halloween Havoc. So it'll be cool to see how NXT does with this brand, this name that they got from WCW. And I want to see as you mentioned earlier, I was on my Instagram story, I want to see the full gargoyle and the pumpkins and the tombstone screens next to it. I want to see all of that back. But if they can't bring that back, they can bring something similar to it back. Add something similar to it. And it's going to be a really cool to see how it looks, how the arena looks for that show. And I think Shotzi's going to do a really good job hosting it.
For me, it's AEW next week. Excuse me. I think it's jam-packed show. It's the anniversary show for Dynamite. Lance Archer versus Jon Moxley for the heavyweight championship. They've been referring back to the their Wrestle Kingdom match that they had, the Texas Death match, and you saw Hiroshi Tanahashi as well congratulate Chris Jericho. So maybe there's a partnership in the works for New Japan and AEW. One can only hope. I hope so.
I hope so too. That would be a great partnership.
The president of New Japan just stepped down. Harold Meiji, I believe his name is, just stepped down as president of New Japan. So we will see if they maybe leave Ring of Honor and they go to AEW for a partnership. I think that would be the right move to go. I love Ring of Honor, but I think it's time. You're also going to get Big Swole versus Hikaru Shida for the Women's Championship. You're getting Best Friends versus FTR for the Tag Team Championship. You're getting MJF's decision on what group he's going to be joining. So you have so much jam-packed for next week's anniversary show that I am curious how they go about it. I'm excited for it. This is the most excited I've been for a Dynamite in a very long time. I think it's going to work out well. So we will see how that goes. I loved your theory, Alex, on the Halloween Havoc stuff, man. I really hope they bring back something. And look, they did a great job with In Your House. So it would not be shocked if they go the route of Halloween Havoc stuff. They bring back similar stuff with everything like that. It would be awesome, and it would be a great idea. And I agree. I think Shotzi Blackheart is the perfect person to host the show. That's going to do it for us here today on Off the Mat. Before we go, I'm going to do it again. I sound like a broken record. Download our app. Okay? It is free. If you have an Apple store, if you have an iPhone, go to the Apple Store. If you have an Android, go to the Google Play Store. Alex and I both have the app. Okay? You need to as well. Type in WWSRN. That's WWSRN. All right? Type that in. And honestly, you download it. It's free. You got all the shows on there, from Wise Guys, Below the Mic, Ryan Hickey Show, down to The Wire. Us, of course, at Off the Mat, Cage and MMA, the BS Sports Show, the new fantasy shows, the Sports Hit List, the Weapons Hot, a New York show for the New York Jet fans. You know what I mean? All those shows are on there. So if you're more than just a wrestling fan, if you're a sports fan, we have so much good content that is there. Check us out. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope. We're on every social media platform. You can't miss us. WorldwideSports.com as well. Go to our website. If you missed our show, if you just want to see clips of our show, if you want to see the articles that we've written, check us out. It's all there, everything like that. Alex, how can the fans find us on our platforms as well?
So you can find us on Twitter at OffTheMat WWSRN and on Facebook at OffTheMat at WWSRN. And then you can follow me at Show Slows and then follow Josh at Josh Silverberg.
It's very easy. You can hear my ranting and raving about what I think about not just wrestling but sports as well. It's a lot of it's a lot of Yankee negativity I put today. So if you're a Yankee fan, so sorry, not really. I should say not really because I'm not. But apparently, where Alex is now, apparently it's like the new title town of sports, where Tampa is. All of a sudden, the Lightning win the Stanley Cup. The Rays are in the ALCS, and the Buccaneers have Tom Brady. All of a sudden, Tampa's this big sports town. When did that happen?
I have no idea.
I have no idea when that happened. Also, really quick, you're going to see in the next few weeks, I'm going to have a new setup, Alex. I'm going to be moving to my new house with my wife. So you're going to see a brand new setup. The shirts could be no more. We'll see.
Yep.
It's going to be a real treat. I'm going to send pictures to Alex to go over it with him, how he thinks the setup should be as well, because I want to get his thoughts on it.
And then tomorrow is my 23rd birthday. So
happy birthday, my friend. You know what's funny is I actually wrote a note. I'm going to say happy birthday to you. No, you don't want me to? No more?
no.
Are you one? Are you two? Are you, how old are you, Alex?
23.
Okay, 23. Stop. See, I skipped a few. No, but I won't say happy birthday to you on the air, but seriously, happy birthday, bud. I really hope it's a good one. Enjoy it as best as you can. I know with everything going on, but as long as you're safe and sound, listen, and you're happy, that's the most important gift of all. So enjoy it tomorrow. Have fun. To all the listeners and viewers out there, thank you so much for letting us entertain you on every Saturday at 12 o'clock. We love it. We'll talk to you next week. Keep tuning into the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We're only growing. It's not just us. It's everybody. It's a team effort, all right? So continue to join us every Saturday at 12 o'clock. Thanks so much, fans. Have a great rest of your week. Be safe. My school's closed the next 2 weeks, so I'm home the next 2 weeks teaching from home, so I think I'm going to go crazy. I'll be texting Alex nonstop about wrestling probably. He's going to go, don't you work? And so, yeah, that's going to be happening. So enjoy, everybody. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. Have a good one. This is Off the Mat on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Have a good one, everyone.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.